Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So those, and then the market size for Pokemon Go. Like our goal is to do a game that is similar to Pokemon Go, and our goal is to be like Pokemon. But we know that Pokemon Go is not start with a game. It starts with a story, right? A lot of stories, and start with a lot of fun stuff. So that's why, so that's why it's kind of really like it's a industry leaders in kind of like a game. So let's see their data. They have like 100 million downloads in their first 30 days launch. And then they have 1 billion downloads as February 2019. And then the total revenue, was $3 billion. So yeah, I know that we probably won't hit those numbers at the early stage, but we are looking like looking after them. Yeah, we are trying to look up to them. Yeah, and then marketing size, it's like an amazing number. And right now I just show you that $76.6 billion mobile game industry, and then 203 million mobile gamers, and then it's growing right now. So it's like a 250% expected growth. And then our target audience, we want someone who are not really good at study science or doing like those kids. They are not good at the traditional math of science education, but they love fun stuff. They love games. They love friendly competition, and they love sharing. So that's our target audience. And we also want to introduce female audience. We want more women to enter STEM. So that's also our goal. So if you see the competitor metrics, you can see that Kerbal Space, it's a really, I would say, who will play this? Like, I don't know, maybe Elon Musk's son or someone. Because when I just play a little bit those, I find out it's so hard. I have to watch YouTube videos and see how rocket go. And it's amazing that I learned a lot for those. So I think Kerbal Space, it's definitely more educational value. But in order to master the game, you have to learn a lot of, for example, like how rocket goes. For example, you shoot through orbit, and the orbit will go around to the rotation of the Earth, and then it will shoot once it aims the right angle. So it's not like, oh, I aim to the moon and it will shoot, directly one line to the moon. It's like you need to going around the circle orbit, and once the timing is right, it will shoot to the moon. So it's a little, it's very educational, but I would say that it requires a lot of skills and prior knowledge to think this is a fun game. Yeah. And then highly entertainment, something like Pokemon Go. It's so fun. I remember a lot of animals, but those are not really related to my education, or not really related to anything that, like make my life better. But it's fun. So I was thinking about if I can create a game that is fun, and then it's also give me some stuff after I play it, that would be great. So I position Starshine as a high entertainment value and high educational value. So this is kind of the competitor analysis. I want to make it free, and I want, customization and social aspects, educational and entertaining. Yeah, so those are kind of the competitor research. And then revenue, so those I was thinking about maybe in-app purchase, subscription, and maybe partnership with some, some schools or some science education institutes. And financials, yeah, we are not doing that. Like this presentation, I did it probably around August or September. But right now, we are not feeding this model. Yeah, so those pretty much, I was the only designer and developer, and I was working on this, but that was a few months ago. I was trying to raise money. So during that time, I pretty much knocked out the whole thing. And right now we are in the, pretty much I'm on time. Yeah, so now we are in the Q2 UX UI game development, those part. Yeah, those are the previous traction. I post some of my work on LinkedIn, and then I got some tractions. So if you want to see some stuff, those are kind of like I use Aswell to do it. Okay, so this is the working process. I pretty much follow Barry Bean, the spiral model of software development. So you can see, like, I start here and I did the risk assessment, and then I do the prototype. And after that, I repeat and I make bigger and bigger. So this is kind of the way that I do my prototype on my game. So first I come up with a basic design, and second one, I figure out what's the risk in my game. And third one, I build prototypes that kind of like tell me whether this feature works or not, or like kind of like a proof that I can conquer those questions or those problems. And the fourth one, I test the prototype. And the fifth one, I come up with a more detailed design based on what I've learned. And once I finish this small prototype, I will return to the second one and figure out another level of the risk. So yeah, just like the cake style of prototype, I will do a really small, but it's a looping prototype. So you see, like, there are different layers. It means like I didn't make the full game, but within this game, every single levels is included. It's like a small compact loop that proves that my game can work inside a closed loop. So those are like the thinking process. I asked myself a lot of questions while I came up with this game. So what's the problem? What's the situation? First, I want to come up with a fun education game. And the solution is 2D space game for users to collect science elements. So that's kind of like my problem and my solution to the problem. Yeah, and the risk, I'm not sure what game should look like. The game should look like visually. And the second one will be, it might not be innovate enough because it's 2D. 2D is pretty much everyone is doing 2D games. Or 2D games is so mature that it's hard to come up with like something that no one has ever seen before. So yeah, so I'm afraid that might not be innovate enough. And then I don't know how many levels I should create. I don't know what, the whole gameplay walkthrough look like. And the story might not make sense. Yeah. And then it might not, I might not know the animation art style. And then what device should I use, PC or mobile? Yeah, so the prototypes that I'm doing is kind of a little bit art work on concept art, and then design walkthrough game to test it out. And now I also sketch out 1.0 release game walkthrough. So yeah, the story is that in 3030, Moby fall asleep in his spaceship. He woke up by a huge bump. He find out that he is now in an uncharted planet on the galaxy map. So those are my inspiration. Inspirations, and I kind of draw the overall kind of the frame. And then the second one is Cloud, which is the genie in the uncharted planet. He told Moby the story of the planet. 100 years ago, there were 11 kingdoms in the planet. However, a black hole or a dark force swallowed all of them to another dimension. If you want to go home and fix your spaceship, you might need to bring them back so they can help you. So I drew those 11 kingdoms. So pretty much follow the periodic table. The first kingdom we want to rescue, the elements we want to rescue is reactive nonmetals. So those are the 11 kingdoms. And then, so those are the level 1. So first, we're thinking about maybe rescuing the hydrogen queen.
Anything does happen.
So pretty much start from, I list out all the, let me see what's the name of it. Reactive nonmetals. Reactive nonmetal kingdom. I list out all the elements there. And then I started to kind of read all the characters and then kind of like, get out like what's the most important thing or what I want to put in the game. So carbon, I want to make maybe diamond and carbon. And nitrogen, I was thinking about farmer, right? Like doing some farming stuff. And then oxygen, maybe water bubble stuff. And fluoride, I saw there are a lot of very cool fluoride crystals. So maybe that can be the theme of the game. And phosphorus, maybe ghost fire, pumpkin, Halloween scene. And then sulfur, maybe burning stone and volcano, coralline, maybe war and green toxic air, selenium, maybe battery, bromine, photography, hydrogen, maybe hot balloons. So so those are kind of like the elements that I want to put in a game. And then those are the player movement. I mean, those are kind of like something that I find online, but maybe at the beginning for the prototype, I can put, for example, like attacked, die, dizzy, idle. At least I know there are some options here, and I will kind of integrate with those. And those are the online sprite package. And later on, if those works, then I will kind of hire other artists to draw other sprite like fits to Moby's personality for me, more unique. So this is a
can you insert advertising clips for your different elements so that either a mining company that mines boron, as an example, or a company that sells diamonds. So as you say, here's carbon, and one of the things you do with it is you make diamonds, and then a short clip comes up. Look how beautiful diamonds can be, and we sell them, and blah de blah, so that you get some both advertising revenue from those companies and samples of the products that the real life products that are made from the elements.
Right. Right now, I think those are pretty good idea, and then I will try to make those because all the elements are kind of in our everyday life. So definitely that is a really good idea to partner with other companies and see whether we can kind of integrate with some of their stuff in. And then those are our elements, player movement. And right now this is level. So I use Unity and I paint the level. This is called gray box step. So when coming up with an idea, then we need to test out like whether the player can jump and what the level will look like. So I pretty much use gray box, so I won't get distracted by the art style. And this is player, and the red box is enemy, and the yellow dots is the elements that I want to rescue. So, and the enemy will be different according to this chart. Like, okay, diamond and carbon, I was thinking about more like, oh, diamond is the prince, the rich prince, and carbon is the beggar. So maybe I can put some of the scene or like the metaphor inside, and nitrogen, maybe everything is underground and soil, and then you can see like a little farm stuff and kind of represent nitrogen. So yeah, so those I'm still developing like what's the kind of like a metaphor and storytelling for this. Yeah, and then yeah, those are the interface. So first, I was talking with my mentor, game design mentor, and then I asked him like, oh, should I make a PC game or should I make a mobile game? He told me that we can make a mobile game for sure. So, I mean, I really like mobile game because the device is simple and you don't need to, you know, have so many stuff, so heavy stuff, and you can play a game. You just open it, you can play a game. So, yeah, so this is the heart. You can get heart throughout the game, and when you kill the elements, you can get coins, and then those are your mission. You need to rescue those elements, and this is kind of like the profile. So when you open it, oh, I think I should. When you click this, it will jump, like pop out some other items similar to Pokemon Go. So yeah, so, and then if you click the profile, you will see Mobi. And if you click inventory, you will see, because instead of, you know, like 118 elements kind of laid out differently, I kind of think Pokemon's index will be cool, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And once you click, you can see all the stuff being displaced. And if you haven't collected, it will just be a question mark. Yeah, and then this is the hydrogen game level I was thinking. Yeah, the thing about it is that if I kind of create every level, different game, different movement, it might hard for me to do the player movement, because I want the user, once the user get used to the player movement, they can keep consistent throughout the game. The game mechanic should be consistent, but I do kind of like start thinking about how can I construct the whole game. Yeah, so this is kind of my first iteration. You can take a look. Yeah, so pretty much just cut, yeah, and then I can eat that, and those are the scary enemy. Yeah, and you rescue the queen. Yeah, and you go to another level. Yeah, so this is kind of like a paper prototype. I had a lot of fun, but later on, after like changing a little bit, I started thinking about, yeah, I need to have a bigger picture. So I ditch out the art style. And then I start with the overall, like the level design. First one will be carbon, nitrogen. This is nitrogen. And then oxygen. This is oxygen, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine, selenium, bromine, hydrogen here. So this is the one that I create. Yeah, so you can take a look. Yeah, so this is kind of like a prototype walkthrough. Yeah, so yeah. Yeah, so make sure all the jumping and all the all the movement can go smoothly in the game. Make sure it's not jumping. Yeah. So yeah, I twist a lot, and later on, once this is good to go, then I will start integrate with player movement, and then start applying some rough, maybe paper cut art to apply to this game, and then put more like a story stuff inside and make it polished. So this is so far the first element, like first prototype that I did. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. So pretty much, the scene will be different according to different elements, and all those numbers will be changing to, you know, like, oh, the slots. Oh, you get, for example, like hydrogen, you get something, and then maybe if you want to learn more about that, you can click the card and see how it can be applied to your life or something more about the hydrogen. And once Moby kind of rescue the last element, he will kind of I will make another jump cut to another scene where he can kind of use all those to fix some part of his spaceship. For example, hydrogen probably can be the fuel, right? So like I will put a lot of slots to, like, as a requirement for Moby to collect those stuff. Yeah, or I don't know, if Moby wants to recreate the planet, he can pretty much put some slots, and maybe there will be grass, or like plants or trees will grow. For example, like you put nitrogen on the soil, maybe something will grow. So yeah, so this is kind of like the whole level. Yeah. Okay. So thank you so much. And then, do you have any feedback or questions? Yeah, feel free to let me know. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Anything? Yeah. Cool. Yeah, Chris, do you wanna share something, or Fernando?
Yeah, I had a couple of ideas.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
If you wanted to go the game route, you could always, I mean, it is tapping a little bit of Elon Musk's question, can we live on Mars? Make that the thrust of the storyline, and then you can go for all those elements. Interject some Musk, and then you got a funder also.
It's hard to approach him.
And then we'll the people around him. And then, of course, you could also do an emphasis also on the Red Bull Challenge. So
what's the Red Bull Challenge?
There's lots of different Red Bull challenges. Like, for instance, I forget Baumgartner, the guy who did the highest skydive, or he dove off of a weather balloon and landed somewhere, and just the aeronautics and whatnot, the problems that had to be solved for that. And then there was also a gentleman that did the free fall without a parachute, and all the aerodynamics that had to go with all of it, with that. Those type of questions, because I know the kids really gravitate towards that. So if you could develop challenges and, you know, put them in a Red Bull, and then you also you would have product placement, you have potential sponsorship, if not Red Bull, the next company that is in that genre.
Yeah, as Fernando says, Red Bull spends a lot of money on advertising and promote. Very clever advertising and promotion. That thing with the jumping off the balloon, they spent $20 million on that. They do things in Las Vegas with motorcycles jumping. So they like very visual things. They're looking at 3D animation and VR right now. And the advantage of Red Bull, even though the company is based in Austria, they have a major headquarters right next to you in Santa Monica.
Oh, wow. Santa Monica.
Yeah, and they're looking at different ways to promote their product in ways in games and challenges to get the younger generation, that is their customers, involved. Just like Fernando said.
Thank you.
In Santa Monica.
Santa Monica.
And also,
I'm going to move.
X Challenge, no?
X Challenge? It's called X Challenge?
Is this X Challenge that's in Culver City?
I don't know. X Challenge.
Is it X Challenge or X?
Global X Challenge. Over 1 million something.
Yeah, it's a big organization, but they're in Culver City, the base.
Oh, wow. In Culver City. That's close.
You can go see. I've been there. I talked to them about learning technology. So I visited their people. They're friendly.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. So X Challenge. Yeah. It's good to know that a lot of cool stuff is around my place.
Literally.
Literally. Yeah. Oh, marketing manager of SpaceX. I do know top engineer in SpaceX. Yeah, he report to high level every day.
There you go.
Yeah, but I mean, I have to be so good so I can get the opportunity. I need to be really good or I will waste their time.
But if you did a couple of storylines, say for instance, I mean, you could go historical space exploration, go into the 50s, 40s, and 20s or 30s, do inventions and explorers themselves, the guys who were the test pilots that broke the sound barrier, the actual vehicles. Those are all things that you can put in a Pokemon Go style game, right? And then 1960s, you could do all the different orbiting devices that the Russians may have come up with, that the US came up with. And then you could even add in the Chinese element. That'd be awesome, because we never really learned about the Chinese element.
Actually, Chinese, they are trying to create, I don't know, a fake moon or something.
No, they
pretty crazy.
Yeah, so but they're doing something. And throw that into the game. Just, I mean, to give you also that edge of being something different, unique, niche.
That would be cool.
The Chinese control most of the rare earth elements.
Really? Wow.
On the planet. So once you get in the rare earth elements, if you want to get into the mind where it's coming from, you're going to be looking at China. And for applications of rare earth elements in chips, especially in nano chips and very, very small stuff, you're going to be in Taiwan. You're next to the world's biggest chip maker. They have 50,000 employees. That's the.
But Taiwan wants to be independent.
That's in the science park in Hsinchu. If you it's TSMC.
I think I probably know that.
Get a hold of their marketing manager and go, I have this great idea for promoting some of your products.
Oh, yeah.
They're huge. They just let out the world's biggest contract for wind farms to become energy independent. It's a very interesting company.
So the one thing that I can add here, and Dominique, I've mentioned to you this several times before, is you need to decide whether you want to make money with this or whether this is just a hobby, and either of those two approaches is perfectly fine. Now, if you start out as a hobby, which is what this is right now, because there is no scale, there's no audience, there's nothing there, and I mean, you're working on the prototype right now. Once you have something small that is working, that looks professional, I would pursue all of those avenues that Chris and Fernando and others have suggested, which is you shop that little prototype that looks perfect, you shop that around as much as possible. You approach SpaceX, you approach the semiconductor manufacturer, you go to NASA, you go to everybody else that is in Los Angeles and that is potentially a target audience for your game, right? It's schools, it's universities, it's private entities, it's public institutions, it's whoever you can find. And see if you can get anybody excited about this thing to support you financially, or if not financially, at least with publicity. And that's the way I would do it, unless you're perfectly fine with just this being a hobby and a learning experience and a project that's fun for you to do. And you don't mind putting in all the hours, and I know you put a lot of hours, right?
Yeah, like the whole year. Every day, 1 to 2 hours, nonstop, every day. I just work on this every day.
Right. Your list of challenges, I would get rid of some of the technical and design things, because you're way farther ahead than that. I would put in some money things. Really, the bottom line, as JT says, it's about show me the money. That's there's a whole MBA course for you. Show me the money.
I show you the art.
One of the ways beyond, in addition to the whole game, the big game, you might have little mini games that you can sell to promote different products that use different elements. Some years ago, I sold a bunch of my games by attaching them to movies. So I got the, I contacted the Xena Warrior Princess TV show and said, hey, I can do a promotional online game for you for, I think it was like $40,000. They said, sure. For them, that promotion is nothing. So I did about a half dozen games that way, just for promotions for TV shows and movies, including Star Trek.
Oh, wow, Star Trek. Wow, yeah, attached game.
That's very interesting, Chris, because you've approached it from a completely different angle than what Dominique is doing right now, right? Dominique has a concept and an idea, and this is the periodic elements and combining them and whatnot, and she's putting together a prototype, and then later on, she hopes that they will come, so to speak. Whereas Chris, what you did, you picked a popular TV show, approached the studio or production company and said, hey, look, if you want, I can make something for you. But you didn't lift a finger until they said, okay, yeah, sure, 40K doesn't matter, here.
But how can you convince them to pay 40K for you? Like, do you have portfolio and show them you can do it?
Yeah, you need a rough prototype.
Like how rough, like my rough?
For games, you can't just put it on paper. You have to have at least a few, a couple of minutes of a game character. And you say, look, here's my technology, my game character, and I can make that game character work for your product or your show. So it's, you don't complete it, as JT says, until you got some money in the pipeline. But you have a little pitch element, very short, that says, hey, this can promote your chips or your hydrogen or whatever the element is.
Do you think this game, if I keep working, there's some potential of making money, or you think
Has to be.
Yeah.
Yes. It's all about the money. Else it will not live. You need sustainability, and that means a monthly revenue coming in.
Yeah, you're right. So according to the game you saw right now, do you think if I keep working on it, make it polished, and then I will make like 11 kingdom, like 11 levels, and at the end it will be like 180, and then it will be stories. And after he collect all the elements, he will go go out of the reality and start fixing the rocket. For example, like, oh, rocket, the fuel needs to have like hydrogen, and then you kind of slot in, and then 10% of complete fixing the rocket or something. Yeah, so it's kind of a knowledge-based game. Yeah, do you think that's still working, or you think
get a little short pitch together, and then contact the VP marketing of companies that would benefit from a game exposure.
I don't know why you would need 11 levels. Well, nobody's going to sit through 11 levels. That VP of marketing, that Chris, he's going to look at one level or two or maybe three, and that's it. And then he or she is going to decide, yes, I like it, or I don't like it, and that's it.
30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Okay. 30
you know what?
seconds.
How long kids are watching songs on the song websites these days? It amazed me when I found out, because I always listen to an entire song. You know, 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes. But the money for those sites is actually decided. It goes to the songwriter if someone listens for 20 seconds. Because that's the average time kids are listening to those songs. That's how short attention span is nowadays. So have a 30-second or something like that, 1 minute pitch. You know, here's an example, boom.
Okay, got it. So it still can be a mobile game, but at the end you should promote maybe rocket industry. For example, like, I can kind of like, for example, like what elements that rocket needs, like a little bit educational. And maybe if I swap to SpaceX Falcon 9 or Starlink or Starship, and then I replace that, and then the elements inside the game will be different. And then you still need to go through that, collect all those, and when you go back, you fill out all that, and the rocket will shoot.
Right. Look, you have access to NASA. You have access to SpaceX. You have access to some of the other space-related companies that are located here in Los Angeles, simply because of your network and because they're geographically right here. You can knock on the door and say, "Hey, I'm across the street from you. Let me show you something." So I think it would make perfect sense to focus maybe with the initial elements on something that is hydrogen-based, rocket fuel, whatever. And then try that. And if that doesn't work, then maybe you change it to something that along the lines of what Chris suggested, semiconductor industry. They have different elements of which they use in their manufacturing and approach those. But go with the lowest hanging fruit first, which is what you have access to already.
Exactly. As an example, what's the first thing you look for on a planet like Mars or anywhere else? You look for oxygen. Okay, you're at the element O. Look for oxygen, and maybe tie in one of the world's. I was astonished how good they were when I visited JPL, the Jet Propulsion Lab in Pasadena. They are huge on virtual reality and games to promote their different products. If you can get a visit to them, you will be astonished. But again, there'll be a VP or a director of marketing.
I have a friend working as UX designer in JPL or NASA.
There you go.
Yeah. NASA and JPL. I think, so I see. Right now my stuff is more like my hobby, and then it still has something that can be commercial. So I will change maybe 11 kingdoms, like a lot of stuff that nobody cares. So like I would say 2/3 of them, nobody even heard of it, right? A lot of elements. It's not really essential. So probably I will pick some different elements and reuse the whole game. and then kind of maybe talk with maybe start with space company, and then said that, oh, this is a small game that teaches kids like the how to like what's the essential elements for your rocket, and then maybe start from there, and then I kind of see like what kind of materials that use for rocket or something. Yeah, maybe that. Yeah, or like or maybe I can switch this. The game mechanics the same. Maybe switch to, for example, how to survive on Mars, and you go to another dimension and get the essential stuff. Maybe one potatoes, right? And then you can start growing potatoes. Yeah. So I see. Yeah. Any suggestions or surviving Mars? I think Lou heard you have some comments. Oh, go ahead.
You might want to do 7th grade science standards.
What's that?
7th grade, the standards, the learning standards in education. So as a teacher, you would have to teach certain things by the end of the school year and have the students be masterful in those. And so if you go according to the 7th grade, I think 8th grade science standards, that's where they use a lot of the rocket making projects and whatnot. So it could plug right into that.
First, find out if they have a marketing budget.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Show me the money.
School.
Show me the money.
Yeah, school might not be able to do.
Yeah.
Stay away from K-12 and universities. They suck up money. They don't give it to you.
University? I thought university has a lot of budget.
Universities don't really teach that secondary. They're money machines.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
I've actually taught at universities. For professors, number one priority is not how well you teach, it's how much money you can bring in grants and donations and so on. That's number one priority. So, but there are other sources of money, including, of course, products.
I see. Yeah. I see. Yeah. So I will make those more like how to build a rocket. Like someone's rocket is smashed. Maybe I can have two levels. One is how to survive Mars, or like maybe that is a Mars or something.
Yeah.
How to survive there. And second one
all about elements like oxygen, but really this is an example of what you do or where you look for oxygen is with a SpaceX exploration of Mars as an example. But
maybe I make that might be better.
Elements, but here's an example of how this element is used.
Yeah. Maybe you go to another world and venture out and trying to get the essential elements to survive in the uncharted planet first, and then later on you need to fix your rocket. So you do both.
Yeah. On Mars, how about nitrogen? Why the hell do you need nitrogen? Well, nitrogen, to grow any plants, you have to have nitrogen. Yeah. That's a basic element of all plant food.
Yeah, right.
As an example.
So maybe how to survive, maybe that is Mars. Survive in Mars. And then the second level will be how to fix my spaceship. Or maybe I can swap that to the SpaceX rocket Starship. And I don't know. Yeah. So if I want to approach to the company, then I can I can just swap everything SpaceX and their Mars exploration, and then pitch to SpaceX and send to my friend.
There you go.
Yeah, I think that would be great. And SpaceX, I can also use SpaceX assets to NASA as well, because I think they are kind of come together.
Yeah, the rocket ships are kind of complicated. There's a lot, but looking for elements on Mars, that you can make kind of simple.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, elements.
Everyone could grasp that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so instead of fix the spaceship, maybe he will be the Adam, the first human living in Mars. Yeah. And then survive in Mars and get married with aliens. Right.
There you go. You
I don't know. And start having some crazy stuff. Yeah, I think that would be cool. Yeah, and third, I think, what's that scrolling program called? It's called Unity. Yeah, I use Unity. Yeah. Okay, so any feedback or any suggestions you want to make for the game? Anything? Yeah, so according to the feedback I will make, the whole game is like everything is in Mars, and then you are like Moby will try to go to another dimension to find the elements to survive in Mars, and later on put this demo and pitch to SpaceX.
Just as a one last comment, I actually have to run to another meeting, but when we have a game developers conference again.
Oh, GDC.
I didn't have one this year, but last year at the at the GDC in San Francisco, I talked with the president, the president of Unity, and asked him. I actually had lunch with him. I asked him if they'd be interested in paying for some educational games that would sponsored by them as PR. And he said, sure, come back and pitch me with that. So the next time that it's good publicity for them. Yeah. So the next time, the same with Unreal, because those are the two big
Unreal, Unreal and Unity.
So the next time there's a GDC or a big game convention, plan on going there, and for the kinds of budgets you're looking at, those are nothing for some of these tool makers like Unity. And
Unity is
science education is good,
Yeah, right.
That's a positive PR.
Yeah, it's really good. And every time when I do my game, I learn a lot of new elements, and and I feel really good about like missing, because throughout my whole life I didn't really study science, so this is a good time to catch up.
So cool. All we need is live events again, because it has to be done face to face. You have to track them down.
Oh yeah. So right now, because of COVID, I know that GDC usually held around February, right? So so you see, I don't think next February will return to normal. Probably more strict quarantine. Yeah, so probably online. So probably I need to prepare this game, like Mars Survival. Yeah, I can always change everything because it's so raw right now. So all I need to do is change the information and remain with the game stuff. And I'm thinking about, because right now I'm learning low poly Maya, so probably I can implement that. Once 2D is finished, everything becomes 3D. And once everything becomes 3D, it can be AR or VR, because and VR, I just export from my Unity and to VR stuff, to Oculus.
Have an elevator pitch, a 1-minute video showing your thing.
Elevator pitch. Okay. Yeah, cool. Okay, GDC and AWE, right?
JT, I'm sure you've done some elevator pitches in your life.
Yes, and of course, the most successful elevator pitches are those that can communicate that, hey, I'm already making money with this thing.
Oh
Or
yeah,
I
it's
have
like
a large
yeah.
following. I have traction, right? If you don't have one of those two things, then you better have very strong connections to these people that you're pitching. Maybe they like you, or they know you, or they want to help you for whatever reasons. Other than that, it's extremely difficult to get any buy-in, financial specifically, without having shown that your idea can actually make money, or
Yeah, making money.
generate a lot of interest from a lot of people. Even if they don't buy, they at least play your game, right? That's the challenge.
Yeah, right. You are right. Yeah.
I'll teach you a trick.
Okay.
A
Yeah.
dirty trick.
What's the trick?
What's the trick?
One of the ways I enrolled a lot of people in talking at my conferences, generals, congressmen, and whatnot, and got money, sponsor money from a lot of companies. And what I would do, one of the ways I would do that, so that the money would be controlled by, say, a vice president of marketing. What I would do is I would look for his boss, the general or the president, and go, hi, here's my, blah, 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 blah. I always sit in the front row when they have panels. Here's my thing. I'd like to, this may be interesting for your company. Who should I talk with? Who's your vice president of marketing? And the guy goes, okay, that's, Mr. Schadenfreude. And then I'd go, okay, thank you. And make sure I have his name, give him my card. Then I call up Mr. Schadenfreude and go, your boss told me to get a hold of you and follow up on this. And technically that's true. And then the guy goes, oh, well, if it's my boss, can we meet? Sure, if my boss says so. So that's a little trick that I've used over the years.
That's really smart. You go to the king and ask like, who should I talk to? And then later on you tell the manager, and oh, your boss asked me to follow up or something.
I'll give you an example. For a thing I needed for a congressional, I actually had my own congressional hearing on something called Internet Protocol version 6, making the government adopt that. And for that, I needed a 3-star general who was the IP expert for the Pentagon. To get him, I knew I could never, really meet him in the Pentagon. I got his boss, the 4-star general, Meyer, the chief of staff. I tracked him down to the restroom, and in the restroom, first of all, I washed my hands very careful. I hadn't actually peed or anything, but just to make sure that I had clean hands, I washed my hands and dried them in front of him and said, hi, General Myers, I'm such and such, and I'm working for this. I'd like to invite you or one of your assistants to talk at this congressional hearing. And shook his hand, hence the clean hand. And he laughed and said, listen, I'm the chief of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. I don't do any actual work. That's all done by my assistants. And I said, which one? Well, he said, oh, Lieutenant General such and such. And so I called up Lieutenant General and said, your boss told me to get a hold of you because he wants you to be in this congressional hearing. And a couple of months later, there was Lieutenant General at the congressional hearing.
Oh, wow.
And that was because I got a hold of his boss and told him, like that. So it's good to do person-to-person things.
Yeah, but right now it's Zoom.
And ask him, he's never going to do it. But you ask him, who's the assistant I should follow up with?
Yeah.
Dominique, do not walk into the men's bathroom
trying
to find people to shake hands with.
No, I won't. That you don't have to worry about that. I will go to women. I will stand outside of men's bathroom.
That was an example.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. I think I got a lot of feedback. The first most important thing is how to make the money, right? Yeah. I think that's the most
I've got to run. Really enjoyed this. Thank you very, very much,
you.
everybody. And JT, remember, you've got to come up for a wine tasting.
Yeah, I have to. Like, can I ask you like the address or the time for wine tasting?
Shoot me an email as to when you'd be available. Sure.
It's like every day? Like wine tasting event?
It's most days of the week. Yeah.
Most day of the week. Okay. Yeah. I will write emails after the event.
Please do.
Yeah,
Please
cool.
do.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll put my email here.
Oh, cool. Thank you so much. Yeah. Any feedback, any questions or anything you want to share? Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Cool. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Chris. Yeah. Anyone?
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Cheers. I put my email down. Cheers, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Yeah, anyone has any feedback, questions last minute? If not, then we will wrap up our meetup right now. Okay, thank you, JD. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks,
thank
Dominique.
you, Andrews, Lucy,
Bye.
Fernando.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah, see you tomorrow. Yeah, Lou Hurd and Period and Tempera. Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.